The US dollar for decades has been the most powerful currency in the world. But what if that dominance suddenly comes to an end?
The dollar. Looks like they're dumping it.
The world's largest oil producer, Saudi Arabia, is reportedly asking to join BRICS.
As more and more developing nations, including some of the world's largest economies, decide to ditch the dollar in their bilateral trade, voices of concern and even despair are being heard in the US over the looming end of America's global financial dominance.
Picture a world where the almighty US dollar is nothing but a thing of the past, and the economic balance is shifted beyond recognition. As we speak, countries across the globe are slowly but surely moving away from the dollar, and the repercussions could be catastrophic. In this video, we'll explore the factors of contributing to the downfall of the US dollar and the steps you must take to protect yourself and your finances. The term the Great Reset or the New World Order has been gaining momentum lately, encompassing many significant changes that could take place in the global economic system. Even China has explicitly stated its intention to de-dollarize and reduce the US dollar's dominance. They believe it's a crucial step in the quest for a more fair and stable monetary system. The Chinese informed Russian President Vladimir Putin that the world is about to undergo unseen changes for 100 years, a sentiment which he echoed. This prediction has come true, as several countries are considering aligning themselves with the BRICS group, potentially signaling an end to the dominance of the US dollar. Such a shift in global financial power would undoubtedly result in a significant blow to the US economy, as it has traditionally relied heavily on the dollar's hegemony. Moreover, if other countries started to follow suit, the consequences would be even more severe. For example, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Turkey have already applied to join BRICS, indicating a willingness to adopt new, more favorable currencies that would be detrimental to the US economy. Several countries have recently joined forces to create their own currency to move away from relying on the dollar as a dominant world reserve currency. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are some of these countries that have begun collaborating in creating an alternative currency known as BRICS. This initiative has been motivated by a desire to reduce the power and influence of the United States, which has become increasingly dominant in the global economy. The idea of creating a new world currency has been brewing for some time now as nations seek to distance themselves from the dollar and its unpredictable fluctuations. The BRICS currency is seen as a viable alternative that could serve as a stable reserve currency, providing a hedge against the uncertainties of the existing financial system. This idea is not new, but has been in the making for some time. However, the fear that a new world order may take shape has caused more people to consider distancing themselves from the US currency. These countries' efforts to collaborate offer a way to enhance their economic power and create a new global financial structure independent of the US. As a result, the BRICS countries could emerge as a powerful geopolitical and economic force with the potential to rival the US and its allies. Overall, this emerging shift in the global economy represents an opportunity to challenge the current world financial order and create a more equitable and balanced system that reflects the interests of emerging economies. One of the factors that helped establish the United States dollar as the world's de facto reserve currency is that oil has historically been traded for greenbacks. Foreigners hold 70% of all U.S. currencies. If the dollar were no longer used as a reserve currency, all of these funds would flow back into the United States, causing inflation on a scale never before seen in American history. Please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button if you're enjoying the video so far. Given the current economic climate, where the United States is on the brink of decline, it is crucial to investigate the underlying causes of this critical situation. Tracing back to 1913, Britain prevailed as the supreme superpower with control over half the world's territory, a powerful navy, and a robust economy that instilled faith in the British pound. However, the current situation in the U.S. is far removed from the past glory of the British Empire, and the prospects of a crumbling economy and a deteriorating stock market seem inevitable. This predicament highlights the need for a crucial assessment and analysis of past events and decisions that led the United States toward an uncertain future. In the early 20th century, smaller countries such as Sweden and Italy were cautious about trusting each other's currencies due to the potential for one country to print an excessive amount and destabilize the economy. Their lack of trust led them to seek a currency they could rely on, eventually settling on the British pound. This choice was motivated by the British Empire being the world's largest and most powerful nation, with the pound accounting for an astonishing 60% of all global currency reserves. However, not everyone was content with the status quo. Germany, in particular, harbored deep resentment towards British hegemony and sought to challenge it. In the years leading up to the World War I, Germany made a concerted effort to build up its military and assert its dominance on the world stage. Unfortunately for Germany, this plan backfired spectacularly. The war ultimately resulted in Germany's defeat and the dismantling of its empire, leaving the British pound more entrenched than ever as the world's dominant currency. The aftermath of World War I had a devastating impact on the British economy, with trade disruptions, high levels of debt, and dwindling resources. However, despite these challenges, Britain survived the turbulent post-war Reconstruction period. Nevertheless, Germany soon launched another assault on Britain in World War II. Britain was at a disadvantage this time, with the country teetering on the brink of bankruptcy and lacking sufficient military strength to defend itself. Britain reached out to the United States for assistance in a last-ditch effort to save itself. The U.S. agreed to help Britain, but on one condition. Britain must grant independence to all its colonies. With little choice left, Britain reluctantly complied. However, the end of World War II saw Britain decimated, with much of its infrastructure destroyed and its economy shattered. Moreover, it lost its colonies that had once served as a vital source of wealth and power. This marked the end of an era for Britain as it transitioned from being a global superpower to a much smaller, more modest nation. Despite this, Britain emerged from the war with a newfound resilience and determination to rebuild itself, laying the foundation for its modern-day prosperity. Following the destruction faced by Europe and the internal struggles of both the Soviet Union and China, the United States emerged as the dominant global power. Due to its position geographically, it remained unscathed by the war, boasting the largest economy and stockpiling approximately 70% of the world's gold reserves. It was only a matter of time until the US dollar overshadowed the British currency pound as the preferred global reserve currency. To stimulate international trade after a devastating war, the United States established the dollar as the preferred currency, pegged to gold at a fixed rate of $35 an ounce. This approach made other currencies pegged to the dollar to stabilize global economic activity. The ascendance of the US dollar as the global currency was a monumental shift in the world economic order. With the dollar as the foundation of the global economy, any country that fails to comply with international trade rules and regulations could be cut off from the rest of the world. The US economy and military prowess was the driving force behind this shift. The economic performance of the United States was unmatched, as it accounted for almost 40% of the world GDP at the peak of its glory days. This unprecedented dominance enabled the United States to enforce the use of its currency in international trade. The petrodollar system also played a crucial role in the authority of the US dollar. Oil-rich countries such as Saudi Arabia and Iran only sold their oil in US dollars because the dollar was the only currency that allowed them to buy everything else they needed from the global market. This increased demand for the dollar, further cementing its status as the preferred currency for global trade. In essence, the US dollar became the currency of choice, and every trader who sought to engage in any transaction involving the United States had to acquire it. Ultimately, the golden age of the United States was defined by the immense economic and military power, which gave birth to the American dream and put the country at the center of the global economic landscape. Amidst the ongoing global geopolitical struggle, China and Russia have been resentful of the United States' global dominance and its long-standing position as the world's largest economy, facilitated by the widespread use of the US dollar. These grievances led the two nations to unite in a rare show of solidarity, setting aside their historical animosities and collaborating towards creating a new world order. Given China's meteoric economic growth in recent years, its GDP has surged from a meager $360 billion in 1990 to a staggering $18.3 trillion in 2022, constituting nearly 19% of the global GDP. In comparison, the United States share has declined marginally, currently accounting for only around 20%. This shift in economic fortunes is all the more staggering when viewed through the prism of purchasing power parity, where China has already overtaken the United States as the largest economy. Thus, viewed in this broader context, it becomes clear that the U.S. is increasingly losing out to the combined might of China and Russia, both politically and economically. This shift away from U.S. economic clout will have far-reaching implications for the global order and has already started to alter the balance of power across the world. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment below, and watch this one as well.